creating the sun, the moon, and the stars. First man, first woman, and those that had come from the glittering world were now in the present world. And they did have light from the glittering world. They had white light in the east, they had yellow light in the west, they had blue light in the south, and they had darkness in the north. But it didn't provide enough light. It was very dim. And so the people asked First Woman, is there something you can do? We don't have the night vision of bat and owl, and we have difficulty seeing and doing our tasks. And so at first she thought, well, I'll go ahead and ask a glowworm in the east, foxfire in the south, lightning beetle in the west, and firefly in the north to provide light. And they did, and First Woman was very thankful for their efforts. But the first people said the problem is it's too dim and they flicker on and off. And so First Woman had to think of something else that she could do. So she thought of asking one of my favorite persons in the Navajo pantheon, which is Fireman. The stories are just incredible about Fireman. I love them. You know, I love that he lives at Fire Mountain and that his warriors make a ruckus there all of the time. And so she asked Fireman, is there something you can do? And so he said, well, I can light up Fire Mountain and that will provide light, but it will also cause a great deal of smoke. And it won't reach that far. It won't reach as far as Navajo land. But he went ahead and did it. But then, you know, the people said he was right. You know, it's scorching the earth and there's just too much smoke. So First Woman has to think of another idea, you know, to somehow provide light for the new world. So she comes up with the idea of getting quartz discs that she will put on the highest mountains in Navajo land, and they will shed light. And so she has a plan that she wants to have 4 discs, one in each of the directions. She asked for a piece of quartz, and you know, the people find one and bring it to her, and they work very, very hard at forming circular discs, because quartz is a very strong mineral and it's very hard to cut through. But they were able to, you know, make 2 discs, not 4, but 2. And so then, you know, First Woman decided, well, we're going to give these 2 discs special powers. And we're going to have them provide light and provide moisture and coolness also. So she begins to decorate the sun. And she puts a blue turquoise mask on the sun. And that's to give light and heat. You know, and she puts a red coral rim around the sun and coral earrings. There's a horn on each side which holds male lightning and male rain. There are feathers also placed on this quartz disc. The feathers of the cardinal, the flicker, the lark, and the eagle. The feathers are to help carry the disc through the sky and also to spread the rays of heat and light in all of the directions. And so First Man gives a song to the new sun, the new quartz that's going to be in the sky providing light and heat. And the song is sung by lark. So whenever you hear a lark, you can think of it as sun's voice. And many of the deities speak through birds in the Navajo culture. And so whenever I hear birds singing, I always think that maybe a message is present for me. And so again, First Woman continued adding to this disc quartz. We had the feathers, we had 4 sunspots added. We had 4 zigzag lines of male wind and male rain at the top and the bottom. And it's really interesting to me that the Navajos show male rain and male lightning as zigzagged, and they show female rain and female lightning as straight lines. And so The sun is done, and first woman has the people carry it to the highest mountain in the east and fasten it with darts of flash lightning. And so the sun is now placed to provide heat and light for the people. And so first woman says, we have another disc, but we already have heat and light, so I am going to have this disc provide moisture and coolness, and it is the moon. And so the moon has a white shell mask, has yellow pollen on its chin, and pollen is always so sacred, to the Navajo. It has a red coral rim. It has a horn on each side to hold female lightning and soft winds. It also has feathers, which will allow it to spread moisture in different directions. And those feathers are the magpie, the nighthawk, the crane, and the turkey. 4 straight lines give it control of the summer rains and are placed at the top and bottom. And this disc was taken again to a mountain in the east, and it was attached to the mountain with sheet lightning. Now we had, the sun and the moon to begin to provide light and coolness and moisture, but they didn't move. They were, the quartz were just a mineral, stable. And so they had to think of a way, because the people said, well, if they're just fixed in one place, they're only going to provide light and heat for that specific area, and it's not going to affect all of Navajo land, and it's not going to provide for a change in seasons. And so first woman and first man have to come up with some idea so that the sun and the moon will be able to travel through the sky. And so these 2 old wise men say they will volunteer. One will be the sun bearer and one will be the moon bearer. And they give their spirits to these discs, which then allow them to become alive and to have the power and the ability to move across the sky. They ask, how will we know what path to go? And first woman says, I will place 12 eagle feathers on the sun and the moon, and this will indicate the different path it is to take for each time of the year. And so that was given for each of the discs.